Good morning. It's really nice to be with you today. We are noticing that the world outside has its own seasons and its own colors. And right now, the color we are seeing a lot of is white. It feels like we are in the middle of winter, and it will always be winter. But we know that's not true. There are things that are below the ground that are waiting to emerge in the spring. And in the church season, we are waiting also. This is the season of Lent. This is the 40 days that we are waiting for Easter. Maybe you remember seeing this spiral before. There are 6 Sundays in Lent. This is where we are right now. This is the first Sunday. 6 Sundays of Lent that help us to get ready. And we are getting ready to hear the story of Jesus coming into Jerusalem on a donkey, being crucified on a cross, and rising again, defeating death. But we have 40 days to get ready to hear that story. And while we wait, we hear other stories. Stories of the people of God who were in the wilderness, who were trying to understand what it meant to be faithful to God and to love God deeply, and to feel God's love deeply. So as we gather together, and as we journey through Lent, I wonder how God is speaking to you, speaking to that deepest part of yourself, and if you're hearing that voice of God. We have 2 stories this morning, and they're very familiar ones. I wonder if some of you recognize Noah's Ark. This is from the Children in Worship boxes. And all of these animals here, and Noah and his wife are here. This is a water story. And maybe you remember, God got very angry because God was not happy with the way the creatures and people were acting, and so God washed the world clean and saved Noah and Noah's sons and their wives and Noah's wife and animals. And they built a ship, and they waited and waited and waited. And finally, at the end of all the rain, do you remember? Do you remember how they knew it was safe to get off? It was the dove. The little tiny dove that Noah sent out, and it brought back green, something alive. And Noah knew that it was safe to get off the ship. And then God put a rainbow in the sky to say, I will never do that again. I am hanging up my bow. Never again will I create chaos like this and destroy everything again. This is my promise to you. And we have another story, a water story today. Maybe you recognize this story. Mary told this story just a couple of weeks ago. She used the desert box to tell that story of John the Baptist in the wilderness, helping people to get ready and baptizing them and washing away all the things that were separating them from God. And then Jesus came, and Jesus said, I want to be baptized also. And so John baptized Jesus. And do you remember what animal came down? It was a dove just like in the Noah story. And Jesus heard God's voice saying, this is my beloved child. I am well pleased with him. And we wondered together when we heard Mary tell that story, what does that feel like? To feel that voice deep inside telling you, you are beloved. I will wash away all the things that separate you from me. Noah heard that voice. Jesus heard that voice, wanting to be with them, wanting to help them get ready. So I hope that you hear that voice sometime during these 40 days of Lent. I hope that you can get yourself ready to feel that deep love inside of you, to wash away the things that separate you from God and to lean into that belovedness.